I have said here on this show for the last 14 days as well that this roughing the passer emphasis rule on body weight, that you are not allowed, and this was put into place in 1995. I don't know what happened on the field that made the NFL put in Rule 12, Section 2, Part B, about when tackling a passer who's in a defenseless posture during or just after throwing a pass, a defensive player must not unnecessarily or violently throw him down or land on top of him with all or most of the defender's weight. Instead, the defensive player must strive to wrap up the passer with the defensive player's arms and not land on the passer with all or most of his body weight. And whatever re-emphasis was in place, we all know is from the Anthony Barr landing on top of Aaron Rodgers and cracking his collarbone and destroying the Packers season in the process. Now, if Brent Hundley and the backup quarterback was any better, would that emphasis not have taken place? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But whatever re-emphasis has come into play and whatever the NFL has wrought is absolutely, I'm not saying destroying the game, ruining the game. The game's ratings are up. We love the game. What it is turning off part of the fan base that feels that they are not watching a sport that they love. They feels that we watch this sport for many reasons, and I understand a lot of you put hard-earned American dollars on the line. I'm not one of you. What I am is someone who loves this game and loves to watch it. I love the intellect of it, but I also enjoy the physical nature of it, and we all do. And if we are now re-emphasizing a rule that now puts the strike zone that we have through other rules with you can't hit in the head, you can't hit below the knee. If we are now putting the strike zone in jeopardy of a flag being thrown, then what are we doing here? Here was Clay Matthews yesterday after his latest roughing the passer call, in which, to me, there was more body weight thrown on top of Alex Smith than there was on Kirk Cousins when he was called for roughing the passer, and that affected yet again the same way that the Anthony Barr hit on Aaron Rodgers affected the Packers-Vikings in the standings last year because Aaron got knocked out for the Lions share part of the season. This affected the tie column between the two teams, that Cousins roughing the passer call. And rightfully so, Clay Matthews, being flagged for playing football again, was pissed off.
That's a football play. I hit him from the front, got my head across, wrapped up. I've never heard of anybody tackling somebody without any hands. When he gives himself up, as soon as you hit him, your body weight's going to go on him. Unfortunately, this league's going in a direction I think a lot of people don't like. I think they're getting soft. And, the only thing hard about this league is the fines that they levy down on guys like me who play the game hard. I've been playing this game for over 20 years. That's how you tackle. So we'll see. I mean, something's got to change because, the league's not.
Well, the league has to. The league has to. Just because the tuck rule was appropriately called, just because the Des Bryant catch was appropriately called, does not mean that the rule is right. That's why the tuck rule was changed. That's why the catch rule was changed. Because if everybody in a bar and sitting at home thinks a fumble should be a fumble, then let's make it a fumble. Thus, we change the tuck rule. If everybody in a bar thinks that a catch should be a catch, then let's change the catch rule. We've done that. Now we're wondering what is a sack, or even worse, what is a tackle? Because in the same way that there wasn't a fumble on every play, in the same way that there's not a catch on every play, and we still change that, there's a tackle on almost every damn play, I'll tell you that. And in a pass-happy league, there's a quarterback being hit on almost every play, too. So let's change whatever the language is, because the unintended consequence, according to Adam Gase, as we're now showing video evidence of on the screen, has not led to just fan bases being turned off. as is being turned off right now. But a player actually getting hurt trying to avoid putting full body weight on top of a quarterback, William Hayes, who's got 2 sacks for the 3-0 Dolphins this year, taking Derek Carr down yesterday. You could see as he's sacking him, in his head thinks, I better not put my full body weight on him. So he twists his body to the right from the lower torso down, and in so doing makes contact with his knees to the South Florida turf and blew his knee out. And today, Adam Gase confirmed the ACL injury, knocking Hayes out for the season. And in so doing, said the reason why he moved his body like that was to avoid getting a 15-yard penalty. What are we doing? And I know all of the folks in 345 Park and how well-intentioned people they are. And they're not anonymous, but they're well-intended. So they're the same people that got together and in the middle of the preseason said, okay, the helmet rule, it's written a certain way. Let's not change the way it's written, but let's change the way that we're calling it. They absolutely did that. That's why we've only seen, I think, 2 helmet calls in the first 3 weeks. Were there any yesterday? I don't recall. I haven't seen every single down.
Not that I know of.
And as Titan fans are pointing out, including some members of the local media there pointing out, I didn't see the last half of the Titans-Jaguars game fully because I tweeted out that Gabbard had beaten the team that he used to play for yesterday.
Technically, he got the win.
I'm not saying I've seen everything, okay? By the way, who did officially get the win in that game?
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert.
That's another thing that needs to be changed. But this has to be changed, this rule, or the way that it's called. Because we as fans can't sit there and see a game-changing play happen, get wiped out, because something that we believe is a football act is being flagged. Daron Payne flung Aaron Rodgers down to the ground and wasn't called. And Aaron Rodgers said after the game that he was told by the official they missed it, even though you can't miss a huge guy throwing down Aaron Rodgers and landing on him with the full body weight too. This is a flag under the current rule. Didn't earn a flag. So to me, that's the type of play they're trying to get out of the game, not the Clay Matthews play. But we're flagging the Clay Matthews play.
It's
and not the Daron Payne flag. Now, you miss things. Things can be missed. But things that are being called in real time that look like football acts needs to be called as a football act and not flagged. And now we got a guy in Miami who hurt himself trying to avoid making what we think is a football act. And again, we as fans think it's an act. We as fans think that this play that Clay Matthews made on Alex Smith is a good, solid football play. So let's now call it. Even Alex Smith said it after the game, that it was a good, clean football play. The quarterbacks are basically saying you're protecting us too much. We've reached that point.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.